Hi, everyone. Welcome back for another episode of Commanding the Market. I'm your host, Nathan Hale, the MTG Librarian, and I'm joined by my co-host once more, Trent Richardson.
Hey, another day, another dollar. Hell, how is it going, sir? I
It
know
is
we've
going
had some,
well.
like
Hi ho,
what?
hi ho. It's off the spec we go. And 2 months back, when they spoiled Magda, I went in big on Dwarven Blood Boiler, and it has been paying off in spades. I was picking those up for a quarter, and I'm now flipping them for on average $8 a card.
Man,
And they're just I only list one. The moment it sells, I list a new one. Um, I'm getting low. I think I got 4 left at this point.
hmm,
I held on to one just for me to keep in case I decide to build Magda or something. But yeah, there was a episode of Extra Turns just came out on the Command Zone, and that really brought even more attention. It was already selling all right, but after that, I just can't keep them in.
yeah,
Um, that
yeah,
and the Dwarven Recruiter, but particularly the Blood Boiler.
yeah.
Um,
Um, Card is proving to be just sick, especially with, I mean, just any amount of dwarves. Magda being able to tap them all down and just
yeah,
treasure and give things +2/+0, and I mean it's silly.
yeah,
It's
it-
just silly.
yeah,
Uh,
and
uh, um,
yeah, just
but hey,
Magda.
that part, I'm able to jump in.
What's that?
You know,
Uh, um,
I was unable to jump in.
Oh, on that card. Yeah, it was one of those. If you were on our Discord, you
Mhm.
you would have noticed because we posted there, but that card literally had about 24 hours after the spoiling of Magda to pick them up on the cheap. By after that, all the sellers had finally caught on and adjusted their prices. But it's one of those things. If you in spoiler season, if you're on top of it the moment a card gets spoiled, you can often jump and grab cards at ridiculously low prices before they spike. And that was one
Mhm.
such one that and the Dwarven Recruiter uh, that I was able to get in on quick enough. And that treasure theme seems to be something that, like a lot of other themes, they've been expanding on. And
Right.
with that in mind, this next card or first card really that I want to talk about is one that I think even not in a treasure theme's a good card, but in a treasure theme it's ridiculous. And that
Yeah.
card is from Ixalan, and that's Treasure Map. Now this is a lot like the other two-sided cards from the Ixalan block. We've talked about them a lot of times, telling people get these, get these, get these. This one, no exception. The
Hmm.
fact that they are two-sided makes them harder to reprint, and they're in a set that was under open. So this particular one,
Yeah.
Treasure Map, is an artifact for 2 mana with 1 tap, scry 1, then put a landmark counter on Treasure Map. Then if there are 3 or more landmark counters on it, remove those counters and transform Treasure Map and create 3 colorless treasure artifact tokens. And on the backside, Treasure Cove is a land that taps for colorless, or you can tap it, sacrifice a treasure to draw a card. Ridiculous power on this card, and the price
Hmm.
is going to soon reflect that. Just looking at the spread between the market and the market is currently 603 with the mid of 389. Now, Card Kingdom has them in stock for 549. Star City Games out of stock at 499. Channel Fireball has them in stock at 550, but you can still pick up near mint single copies on TCG Player for as low as $2.50. But that won't last long.
No. No, I mean, even if you're not playing this in a Magda deck, just the value you get of 6 turns in a row being able to modify the top of your deck,
Yeah, by either scrying or drawing. Yeah.
for the low price of 3 mana, I mean, is
Yeah.
pretty great. Or you can ramp with it. I mean,
Well, I mean,
Pretty
even if you, I
fantastic.
mean, it's automatically after those 3 turns, you do essentially ramp because that treasure cove is a land itself that can tap for mana. So you're
Yeah.
actually ramping with a land in that way. So either way, you end up ramping in the long run. Even if you use it for card draw for a while in the long run, you've still ramped.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah.
And you're right.
It's
Like
really
it doesn't
fantastic.
have to be in a treasure themed deck to be really good.
Yeah, so I've been picking these up every time I see them, basically since War of the Spark came out, and they've been sitting around that $2 mark for quite some time. And I don't know, I've probably got like 15, 16 copies of this thing at this point, but I've been waiting on this day
Hmm.
because I mean, it's too good. It's just too
Yeah.
good. It goes in any deck. I don't know if you noticed or marked how many yet. It's only played in a little over 6,000 decks on EDH Rec, which
Hmm.
is, I
Honestly,
mean,
pretty low.
very, very low, for especially being an artifact,
Yeah.
um, with card advantage,
Hmm.
and it's under 2 cost. I mean, it's sick.
Yeah.
And now that we've got all these MDFCs where, you have like trade routes, another card we spec'd
Yeah.
on a little while ago. I mean, once you flip this thing over and use all your treasure, just bounce it back to your hand and do
Start
it
it
all
all
over
over
again,
again.
you know?
Yeah.
Um, I mean, there's a lot of cool things you can do with it, and I'm excited that's finally starting to go up. But you're definitely right. 250 right now on the low at TCG is not going to last long.
No, I fully expect within the next week or so that that mid will match the current market of $6.
Hmm.
And that's not to say that it might not go even higher than that, because as those copies dwindle, we're going to see this card continue to rise. And again,
Sure.
under open set, Ixalan.
Yeah. And speaking of, you know, overpowered cards, let's-
The king of overpowered cards here.
yeah, the King of the Elk, otherwise known as Oko, Thief of Crowns. Just in case you guys don't know what it does and you've been living under a rock for the last two
Doesn't this
years,
card create salt?
it does create salt.
That's what it
Morton
does.
has a large stock in Oko. Yeah. Um, so it's a green and a blue for legendary planeswalker. Comes in with 4 loyalty, and the first ability is you +2 loyalty, create a food token. +1 loyalty, target artifact or creature loses all abilities and becomes a green elk with base power and toughness 3/3. And the hidden secret ability, the -5, that no one seems to
Wait,
know
he
or
has a
care
third
about.
ability?
He does have a third ability, and it does come in handy every once in a while. Not so often, but -5, exchange control of target artifact or creature you control, and target creature and opponent controls with power 3 or less. So it's seen many bannings across multiple formats, but it hasn't been banned in our format.
Nope.
Um, and it's still hugely played in the formats where it is legal. I mean, because it is probably the best Planeswalker ever printed. I
Yeah.
mean, Jace, the Mind Sculptor, may have held that title before, and I don't even think it's close between that and Oko at this point. I mean,
No.
they were able to unban Jace, the Mind Sculptor, in Modern, and it has had zero to little effect. If they were to unban Oko in Modern,
It would
um,
warp the format.
it would warp the format again,
Yeah.
and always probably will, because there's not much that you can do about a 3 mana 6 loyalty planeswalker. I mean, uh,
And if down the road they ever have the meta shifts so much that Oko's not quite as absolutely busted because power creep.
mhm,
But if they do ever unban this, I fully expect that this card would see a double up at least from where it would be at that time,
yeah,
easily. Now, I can't see them unbanning this for a very long time, but at the same time, I don't see them banning it in EDH.
yeah,
And that's what we care about.
Yeah, and over the past 8 months, it's seen a steady climb of about $10. Um, it's showed no signs of slowing, and with Throne of Eldraine about to become out of print, I expect those gains to only increase in their near future. Um, and also, it shouldn't become unbanned.
Or should it not be that
If it
is? Yeah.
shouldn't become unbanned, then the likelihood of reprint is nearly non-existent. I mean,
Yeah.
um, so its long-term scarcity and value are undeniable. I mean,
Oh yeah.
if they, I don't ever see them unbanning it. Honestly, I
Hmm.
can't see a future where they would,
Yeah. They'll
because
have to have like
it's too
one and
good,
two cost planeswalkers that are equally good before they would unban Oko.
at least,
And that
and
would, yeah.
multiple one mana kill a planeswalker instance. I
Hmm.
mean,
Yeah.
some way to interact with it before turn 4. I mean, because it's just too good.
Yeah.
So over the next 24 to 36 months, I think it's still going to continue to go up. I mean, if it goes up $10 in 8 months times three, I don't think it's going to continue that trend, but it definitely could, especially since
Especially,
it's so good in Commander. I
yeah.
mean,
And again, if it goes out of print
yeah,
or when it cycles out of print, which is coming
right.
soon, we traditionally will see a jump in sought after cards on rotation.
Hmm.
Um, well, not rotation, but when that set goes out of print. And I really think Oko, just because the climb on it has been a steady increase, not like jumps, no peaks, it's just steady increase. Demand keeps bringing it up, and it's just because people list on the low, it'll sell at that low, then a new low is created that's higher than the last low,
Hmm.
and that trend has been consistent for 8 months.
Yep.
And I don't really see that trend changing because rotation won't affect this whatsoever. It's already banned in standard and pioneer and modern. So
Yeah.
rotation will have no effect on this, but it going out of print most definitely will.
And
And
and Legacy. I'm pretty sure it's banned in Legacy
no,
too.
it's legal in Legacy, Vintage, and Commander. Those are the
Okay.
only three formats it's legal in.
Okay.
So tell us about the price on
Yeah.
this.
So TCG market's $20.65 with a mid of 22.21. Um, Card Kingdom 23.99. Star City Games out of stock at 21.24. Channel Fireball out of stock at $24, and TCG near mint single copies as low as 18.49, which is still a really 18.49 even for a
Yeah.
single copy. You want to throw into your green blue deck that you don't have one in, go
Mm-hmm.
ahead and do it. I mean, unless of course, like I said before, you just don't want to have that kind of card in your play group. Um, I could understand that, but it's too good.
It
It's too
is. I
good.
mean, and it's particularly in the Commander format because this card is a 3 mana recurable answer to commanders because they
Mm,
can't tuck it back in the command zone. It goes, nope, you're an elk. You're still in play. You're still the commander. You can still do that 3 commander damage to me,
yeah.
but all those abilities are gone.
Yep.
And most people don't play their commander because it hits hard. Most people play it because it has an ability. Typically, um, I don't really know any others that don't. And so yeah, he's pretty phenomenal.
Hmm. So we got
So
another guy here on the
yeah.
other end of the spectrum.
So this is one I don't know. I've kind of had an interest in him for a little bit. I've been watching him. He's not made huge jumps, but well, let me tell you who I'm talking about here. This is Nixlas Unshackled from Core 15. He is a 4 and 2 black for a 4/4 flying trample legendary demon. And whenever an opponent searches his or her library, that player sacrifices a creature and loses 10 life. And whenever another creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Nixlas. This card's currently sitting at a market price of $669 with a mid of $649, so not much in the way of a spread there. Card Kingdom has them in stock at $749. Star City Games is out of stock at $509, and Channel Fireball has them in stock at $750. And you can get on TCG near mint single copies as low as $5.49.
Hmm.
Now, the thing that jumped out to me about this card, it has in the past 6 months jumped up about $1.50, which is some decent gains.
Sure.
Marilyn of the Mornsong with opposition agent being spoiled, I think helped to fuel this card and interest in this card.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also hearing a lot of people have an interest in running and even having at the helm Vargoth and running a Vargoth deck. This can be a fun, weird way of nerfing a player if they get low enough and just go, you know what? I'm going to go ahead, swing. I'm going to boast. Go ahead, search your library, take 10, sacrifice a creature.
Yeah.
You can even, if they only have one blocker, you can even do that on the swing and Vargoth won't be killed.
Right.
Now, yes, there's some definite danger in letting your opponents search their libraries. That is, unless, of course, you're playing opposition agent. So, yeah. I like this card, and I like the kind of bizarre ability it gives that even if you're just playing it fairly, anybody who cracks a fetch land, who ramps any type of search in their library, they're getting hurt bad. Sacrificing a creature and taking 10 damage, that makes somebody think twice about playing Rampant Growth or anything like that. So yeah, I like, this is the only printing of the card as well. So I think there's potential for him to continue to grow, not just because of the opposition agent.
Yeah, for sure. So next one we got here, Chain Reaction from Commander 2018, played in just over 11,000 decks. First of all, it's a 2 and 2 red sorcery. Chain Reaction deals X damage to each creature, where X is the number of creatures on the battlefield. It's already pretty heavily played in red board wipe and in EDH. It now becomes potent win con in decks with Toroth, God of Fury. While this World Wake rare has had about 3 printings or so, all have been in Commander products, the most recent being in 2018. However, in the last 3 months, this card has jumped nearly 60 cents, and Mono Red is looking to be much more popular in EDH with Kaldheim, and this is among Red's best board wipes.
Yeah, it's like a Red Wrath of God.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, it's pretty fantastic. So TCG market $2.06, mid at $1.57, Card Kingdom $1.99, Star City Games $1.99 with only 2 in stock, Channel Fireball $2, and TCG near mint bulk as low as $1.19. Which, if you ask me, for a Red Wrath,
yeah, that can also be a win con. Which can also be a win con with Toroth, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Affordable. Yeah, with the sweet giant decks that are running around, and I really want to build one for the memes, just because it's such a cool, like, new, thing to do. But this is definitely an auto include in those. But for any mono red deck, I'd imagine, like, you've got Blasphemous Act 1.
Star of Extinction.
Star of Extinction 2, and this might be a very close number 3.
I almost put on here Star of Extinction because it's a mythic from, again, an under open set. Although I believe it saw a reprint in Mystery Boosters. I believe it was Mystery Boosters, which didn't much affect the price up or down. The Mystery Boosters haven't too much affected the original prices on anything. But all 3 of those are very strong. I do like Chain Reaction for how cheap it is. Obviously, Blasphemous Act tends to be the cheapest because in most cases it's 1 red. But yeah, I do think Chain Reaction right now is sitting at a very low price compared to the other 2 red board wipes. Sticking with the red thing here, I'm kind of breaking my usual stride. And this is one I think we've mentioned, but we haven't exactly talked about as far as a spec. I know you have been speccing into this card for a while, and I think that's going to be paying off here shortly. And that card is Balduvian Trading Post. It is a, shall we do it? Call in the reserves? That's right. This is a card from the reserve list and is currently still very underpriced. Balduvian Trading Post is a land from alliances that when it comes into play, you have to sacrifice an untapped mountain or bury Trading Post, Balduvian Trading Post. But it taps for a red and a colorless, so you're still not really losing any mana in the process. It's like continuing to play a land. It doesn't enter tapped. It also has an additional ability of 1 tap. Balduvian Trading Post deals 1 damage to target attacking creature. Not a phenomenal ability. Occasionally will come to play. However, all that aside, you're not losing much in playing this. And if you have any way to recur lands or any benefit from when you lose a land, for example, if you're playing something where I can't think of the card. It's a white card. Martyr? I don't remember the name, but it's basically an edict for your permanents. When you lose a permanent of that type, everyone else does as well. Anything where you can gain value from sacrificing a land or punish your opponents when you do so can just, again, increase the value playability of this card.
Sure.
And the other ones from that set, excluding the green one, which is still the cheapest by far.
And the worst by far.
Yeah, by far. The black, white, and blue ones from this cycle are all sitting between, well, the black one is, I think it's over like 120 now.
Yeah.
Lake of the Dead. But the other two, Soldevi Excavations and Kiljoran Outpost, they are sitting in the $20 to $30 range now. So they've been jumping up quite a bit lately. While Balduvian Trading Post here is sitting at a market price currently of $349 with a mid of $395. Now, Card Kingdom is out of stock at $549. Star City Games out of stock at $299. Clearly, they would be at that. And Channel Fireball is out of stock in Near Mint, but they have lightly played 5 copies for $4.70. And you can pick up light played singles on TCG for as low as $3, but Near Mint's going to set you back $6. And I think that's indicative of where this card, to get people an idea where this card's moving, because when I looked across the majority of online sellers, I could find a total of 15 Near Mint copies, which means this card is going to be incredibly hard to find here shortly. With that in mind, if you're able to pick this up right now, for around the, I would still recommend, because it's reserve list, I would recommend getting the Near Mint copies. If this is something you're really just dying to put in a deck, get a light play. You can get it on the cheap right now. But as it's reserve list, as always, I would recommend getting the highest quality copy you can. And at the difference between $3 and $6 way down the road could be a difference of, $50 or $300. So something to consider.
Fairly easily. So, looks like we're just on a roll with the red boys
We're rolling
today.
with the red.
So, our last red card of the day is going to be a
long shot.
A very long shot.
Oh, yeah.
A commonly okay spec. 7 Dwarves. Common from Throne of Eldraine. It's a 2/2 dwarf for 1 and a red. And 7 dwarves gets +1/+1 for each other creature named 7 dwarves you control. A deck can have up to 7 cards named 7 dwarves. So we'll go ahead and talk about the pricing here. TCG market, 52 cents, mid at 43 cents. Card Kingdom out of stock at 99 cents. Star City Games has 82 of these bad boys in stock at the low, low, low price of a George Washington and 4 Abraham Lincolns. Channel Fireball, $1.10 out of stock. TCG near mint bulk as low as 79 cents. So Star City Games,
Oh yeah,
I guess they don't care. It's a
they don't care.
event.
29 cents. That's
Yeah.
it's surprising that, you know, both Card Kingdom and Channel Fireball are out at $1 and $1.10, and there's still that many in stock at Star City Games.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Especially with well, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not often that we're going to talk about a common in print as a spec, but we actually have a little bit of long-term potential with Seven Dwarfs. Its ability to break the rule of only one copy in EDH, coupled with its ability to grow in size for each other copy you control, make it a card that actually has potential even outside of Dwarven themed deck. For example, in Brutaclad, making a token copy of it, then changing all of your tokens into Seven Dwarfs can often outright win the game.
Oh yeah, you've got like 12 token creatures, and then suddenly you've got 12 Seven Dwarves. That's weird to say, but yeah. They're all going to be, what, 14 14s?
Yeah, something like that.
That's generally going to be able to one-shot a table. At least take out one or two people.
Yeah, exactly. And as this card... And as this is a card that will often require 7 copies in any given deck, availability of the card will diminish, increasing the cost, which, like we've seen in other similar cards, such as Shadowborn Apostle, $4, Persistent Petitioners, $1.25. Star City Games is nearly the choice. Clearly,
very clearly. To get this card in bulk.
The card up in bulk. I mean, a lot of the cards that allow you to break that mold of, you know, and even in non-commander, you know, constructed formats where you can have more than 4 copies, tend to do well on the market as far as
Rats is
pricing.
Another example.
Relentless Rats, plenty of good stuff out there. Dwarves at the market price on TCG is definitely low, especially since Persistent Petitioners is $1.25 and only a set or two younger or older than Seven Dwarfs. Not a bad spec for sure. But definitely, we might see some tick up in the short term because of the dwarf decks that are running around for sure. Yeah. So, do that with what you will.
Definitely still a long shot on that one.
Very, very much a long shot. But even so, even if they do go up to $1, and you pick them up at, you know, let's see, 29 cents.
Yeah.
I mean, even picking them up at 29 cents.
And the other beauty of a card like this in bulk is this is the type of card that people want to buy in bulk. So if you have these in bulk, they go up to $1 and you're like, oh, I don't want to sell, you know, that's 75 cents. There's all the effort in shipping. Yeah. Well, list 40 or 50 of them. They're likely going to sell anywhere in between 4 to 7 copies at a time.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll let you go ahead and take this next one since, you know, I'm pretty sure that you have the record of the card name being said out of your mouth on the show as many times as, I don't know, maybe like 15 to 16 times you've said this card's name in our 25 episodes.
This card does tend to get mentioned a lot, and that's mainly because it tends to get played a lot in our format. It's everybody's card they love to hate except when they're playing it, and that's Cyclonic Rift. It is an instant for a blue and a colorless with return target non-land permanent you don't control to its owner's hand, but most time it gets played for its overload cost, which is 6 and a blue, and in which case you return each non-land permanent you don't control to its owner's hand. This is definitely a salt-inducing card, and is 99% of the time a win when played.
Mm-hmm.
It currently has a TCG market price of $23.59 with a mid of $23.51. And Card Kingdom has them for $27.99. Channel Fireball for $28, and Star City Games out of stock at $24.99. Now, with reprint and double masters, we saw this card dip. And I know you and I were both thinking, and I think we said we want to see this hit around 17, and then we're going to jump on it. It didn't quite make it there.
No.
Which there was quite a few cards. Land Tax was another one from there that we expected to see hit in the teens, as well as Avacyn. And they just never got there, which was kind of surprising. So, and it doesn't look now like they will, because it's already been climbing back up. And again, if you're looking for Cyclonic Rift, it's showing tenacity, and reprints are not affecting the price. I mean, it's played in nearly 100,000 decks in EDH. So
yeah,
the demand's there, and I know I've got like 7 to 9 copies, and that's about half of the copies that I need from my decks. So yeah, demand isn't going to diminish as long as someone's building the deck with blue. This is like, land and then Cyclonic Rift. Okay, I'm building the blue deck. What's in it? Cyclonic Rift. I'll figure out the rest from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, right now you can get them near mint bulk on TCG for as low as $21.50. And I'd say move on that. This card is going to continue to move. If you want this for spec purposes, if you want this for deck purposes, now's the time to move on that, because it's not going back down.
Yeah, you can actually get the singles around like 1950 or so.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, definitely the time to be picking them up right now. They never dip below 18, but now they're starting to make the climb back up. So yeah, now's the time. Move on it. So our last cards here. So I've actually got kind of a set of cards, if you will. And I've been talking about this for probably the last 3 episodes or so, last 2 episodes, I can't remember. Modern Horizons is dwindling in supply at distributors. So, we've talked about a few other things, but I think the next on the list, and, I've seen some movement in the market as of this last week, is the Canopy Lands. So we got 5 of them. We've got the white-black one, which is Silent Clearing, the blue-green, which is Waterlogged Grove, red-blue, which is Fiery Islet, Sunbaked Canyon is the red and white, and Nurturing Peatland is the black and green. And all of these, you pay a life and you add 1 mana of the 2 colors that it produces, or you can pay a colorless, tap it, sack it, and draw a card. So we've seen about a 6% increase last week just in Silent Clearing. So for the non-blue versions of these cards tend to be the most expensive ones, because these colors have less card draw than their blue counterparts. But even so, a TCG market price in between $571 on the low end, which is for Waterlogged Grove being the least expensive of the 5, and then on the high end, $889, most expensive being Sunbaked Canyon.
The hardest colors to draw in.
Even the fact that they're below $10 right now is kind of mind-blowing to me.
Yeah, you put these on here, and I saw these prices for the market price, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, I was so sure that all these were over $10 by now.
Yeah.
And it's not like, Modern Horizons didn't have a small supply, but at the same time, it also wasn't so massive that these cards should stay down for long. Because these cards are played. They're phenomenal in our format, and not just our format.
Yeah, they're played in modern. I mean, almost every deck in modern has at least one to two of these lands, depending on the colors they're playing in.
Because why wouldn't you? Because why
Yeah,
wouldn't
there's
you?
really not much reason not
Yeah.
to. Um,
And in our format, the paying a life for mana for 3, 4, 5 turns if you really need the mana isn't
mhm,
really a big deal.
right,
At 40 life, whatever. If I need the
sure.
mana, and then eventually I'll just scrap it for drawing. And of course, as I always love to mention, another card that I always have to uh, get into every show a mention, and that's my personal favorite commander, Muldrotha. You could just keep recurring this thing for a card draw engine
Yeah,
over and over. They're really good, and
yeah, no,
I'm
they're
still
fantastic.
amazed they're able to be gotten still for this cheap.
Yeah, and it's not going to last long. I mean,
Mm-mm.
once Modern Horizons is like completely unavailable, which I mean, it's already out of print.
Yeah.
That's already flown the coop.
Hmm.
They're not going to print anymore. But it's getting harder and harder for LGSs to find boxes of this stuff. So um, once that supply is gone, the distributors are going to sit on probably 50% of what's left already, just because that's what they do. Um, yeah, these got to skyrocket. I can't imagine,
Yeah.
can't imagine them not skyrocketing at some point here. So
Hmm.
I've been watching them. They've had, like I said, a little 6% increase, which is not a whole lot, but still, that's in a positive direction. So maybe the time is now.
Yeah, that is showing the trend that they're starting to move up. So this is
Yeah,
probably your low to get them at.
yeah,
Um,
probably so.
yeah,
So, anyhow, I believe that it just about does it for us on this daytime episode, which is
that's right.
very out of the ordinary for us.
It is. I'm over here with my coffee and just trying to stay awake or be awake for this.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah. Um, and everyone, we appreciate you watching. We want your feedback. Let us know in the comments what you think of these specs, or if you have specs yourself, you'd like to let us know that you've been watching trends moving up on. And as well, if you haven't subscribed, please take the time to do that now. And as always, please like the video and share it with.
your mommies, your daddies, your sisters, your cousins, uncles, your brothers, your aunts, or your nephews, your nieces, your Barney the dinosaur who's exploding and star of extinction. Anybody really, your cats, your dogs, your fish, your goldfish that you flushed down the toilet because it died.
It didn't die.
You
It
know,
went to the farm.
oh well,
Yeah.
my kid's not 3 yet, so I haven't had to explain any of that
Uh,
stuff. But anyhow, it's been real. It's been fun. Hadn't been real fun. Thanks and enjoy your week, guys. Really appreciate you guys watching and liking and subscribing and following some specs with us.
yeah. And may your card draw be plentiful and your mana never screwed.
Keep commanding the market, guys.
Peace.